is Joanne Wong for Good Food Revolution, and today we are speaking with chef and restaurateur Daniel Boulud. Daniel, good morning.
Good morning.
So you will be opening your very first Toronto restaurant at the new Four Seasons quite shortly. And I guess I'd like to just start by asking you to tell us what you would like us to know about your new venture here.
Well, we are creating at the new Four Seasons, and it's very exciting for me because Four Seasons has always been the benchmark of excellence for service, for hospitality globally, and to be associated with them, it's wonderful. And we're going to create a Cafe Boulud, who is the restaurant in New York. I have in New York and Palm Beach. And Cafe Boulud was created 15 years ago. And Cafe Boulud is really representing me as a French-American chef, while Restaurant Daniel might be more Frenchly focused and service and cuisine and all that. Cafe Boulud has a very interesting menu layout where it has a menu on La Tradition, which is very much traditional French cooking, but other traditional cooking. And of course a take on it, not always literally translated to that particular recipes, but inspired by that. There is also La Saison, which is a very local menu as well, very seasonally driven, market driven, and Le Potager, who is our vegetarian menu, and that is also very seasonal and market driven. And then Le Voyage, who play with all the other cuisine but French, and it has a very sort of much more ethnic approach, and sometimes we travel to Vietnam, to Mexico, to Middle East, and we also explore the local ethnic market days either in New York and now in Toronto. That's going to be exciting too.
Fantastic. And I knew I should have had breakfast before speaking to you because that's sounding wonderful. So at Good Food Revolution, we are big champions of our local producers.
Yes.
And so I'd love it if you could tell us about your experience in sourcing ingredients here and whether anything you found influenced the menu.
I told you you were too early on your interview.
Yeah.
Because I have a meeting this afternoon with the list of suppliers we have so far selected. And of course, I think good suppliers, local suppliers, we have done all the market. Chef Tyler has been here for 3 months now, studying and looking at local suppliers. And there's suppliers of cheese, suppliers of lamb, suppliers of beef. We found wonderful, of course, vegetable supplier as well. We try to look at the curve of season, so we know what is produced here and what is local and what is possible to do with those ingredients at that time. And but you know, it's obvious that you cannot sustain 12 months a year sometime an entire menu just on local ingredient, but we do make all the effort to have as much as possible. I guess it's a commitment we do in New York, it's a commitment we do everywhere. Mm-hmm. So interestingly enough, for example, in Florida, in the middle of December, I have incredible tomato and fresh corn, local fresh corn and tomatoes and vegetable I will never use in New York because they will be coming from Florida to begin with. And but down there in Florida, Cafe Boulud can use corn and tomato, while in New York we might be using rutabaga and turnips or roots. And I'm sure in Toronto it's very much like New York in a way. But I've learned, and I'm already in Montreal, and there is already an amazing pool of farmers there. And here in Toronto, there is also a very, very good supply.
So let's talk about wine instead. So
Yes.
I understand that your wine director is Drew Walker, who is a good local boy. And I know that at Cafe Boulud...
And Tyler is a local boy too.
There we go. In Cafe Boulud in New York, your wine list has a very heavy French focus, of course.
Of course.
With a slight sort of secondary focus on American wines. but with Drew as your wine director, I'm curious how that's shaping your wine list and whether we're going to see some more Canadian wines, some local Ontario wines, and maybe some broader wines from other regions of Canada.
I think the great part about Cafe Boulud is that the wine list is quite eclectic. Yes. It is obvious that I'm French first and foremost, and have no shame about the wine they make.
I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed.
And so I believe that any great winemakers, it don't matter where in the world, they do agree and they do approve that Burgundy and Rhone and Bordeaux are still great wine region as well. Now, it is obvious that also we are looking at what North America produce, and that's from BC to the Finger Lake and to the East Coast. We will carry the best of what there is, and also it's a question of the sommelier and the relationship with the winemaker as well. And we're going to certainly be very active with our wine program and making sure that we have interesting things for our guests. I mean, especially Toronto is quite an international city, and people when I go somewhere, I want to drink the local wine as well. So it's very important to be in tune with that.
It's been very interesting to watch the restaurant industry, the restaurant scene here in Toronto evolve over the last few years, and a lot of interesting changes. I'm curious whether you've had an opportunity to experience any of it for yourself, or you're too busy, I know.
No. I had a chance to come. I mean, I've been coming to Toronto at least for more than a decade on every year for a big charity for Toronto General Hospital.
Wow.
And some of the greatest winemaker around the world come also to that weekend, and some of the greatest chefs of Toronto and Canada also joined that charity weekend, and I've been a big supporter of it. And so already I don't feel like I never step in Toronto. I don't know where I'm going. I know, of course, chefs as well who are prominent, and I'm learning to meet them more than know them, which is better. I was at Buka the other night. It was fantastic. Of course, Mark McEwen, I know him for a long time with his restaurant, the markets, and what he has done, which is quite impressive. I went to Black Goof.
Fantastic. So what would you say Cafe Boulud is going to bring to the restaurant scene here? What would you like it to do?
I think it's, I'm not going to pretend I'm a local little bistro. I don't think it's going to be a neighborhood restaurant, but it's definitely being in the Four Seasons. I think it's an association of myself being definitely an American chef with a French background, and but at the same time, I think what I want to bring is what I do best, which is very good service, very good food, very impeccable ingredient, and consistency in our work. Definitely have be sensitive to the price, but also being very market driven with our menu. Keep training young Canadian chefs. I think education is very important, and I've been training many young Canadian chefs in New York, but I'm very excited to expand the pool now here, of course, and to try to make Toronto proud of what I will do for them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time today. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. And for Good Food Revolution, merci.
Merci.